this isn't a problem on the surface, okay? He's being a dickhead, a doofus, even kind of a, you know, intolerable cringe bastard.
Lewis McClung is currently being dragged on the internet for spending his entire YouTube career dragging others. Now, I've covered multiple cases of creators who ruined their lives online, but I don't think I've ever covered anyone who spiraled out of control within 1 year of fame. It's more than backlash. They were calling for his head, and I have all the details. I'm not trying to bash anyone or kick a man when he's down, but the facts speak for themselves, and McClung dug his own grave. I mean, he had the subscribers and the views, but he threw it all away because he couldn't stop trolling. This time he took things too far by making false accusations against fellow YouTuber Danky Jabo in 2025. When the backlash became overwhelming, he tried to apologize.
I'm really sorry. To Jesse, to my audience, to his, to whoever overlaps. I'm sorry for any harm I caused by spreading my ideas as fact.
That apology seemed casual after trying to destroy someone's life over unverified accusations. The worst part is that he took the apology video down almost immediately after posting. Either way, it was too late. People were done with him, and there was no digging himself out of this hole. Redemption is a great card to play as a content creator, and it usually always works. So why was this situation different? How bad were McClung's commentary videos that his subscribers turned their backs on him even when he apologized? Let's dial things back for a clearer picture. Long before the Danky Jabo incident, McClung created a video titled, "This TikTok artist likes kids a little too much." He accused a TikTok artist named Pumpkin the Gentleman of grooming children without any proof.
No matter how long ago it happened, if you purposefully tried to interact with kids or did interact with kids, then that's just not it.
Come on, guys, it's one thing to call someone out for poor table manners or rudeness, but you just can't go about throwing grooming allegations without proof. As expected, this video attracted a lot of backlash when people saw that he didn't actually have any evidence, and he deleted it. One user said, "I used to watch Lewis, but the more I did, the more I realized how not a great person he is, especially with this video and a couple of others." Another replied, "Same. I am disappointed and annoyed, but I'll be alright. It's just, annoying." His comment section was on fire, and fans started unsubscribing, dropping from over 300,000 to 254,000 at the end of the saga. It wasn't just these two incidents. There were other cases where McClung outrightly made false accusations in the guise of YouTube commentary. Beyond these allegations, McClung also had a habit of joking about serious issues actively affecting society. Each story is more dramatic than the one before, and they expose a dark and dangerous pattern on YouTube and other streaming platforms. I'll get to all his cases in this video as I unravel the downfall of Lewis McClung. McClung's first major controversy involved TikTok creator Freckled Zelda. She had a massive following and made appearances in major shows like America's Got Talent. However, things took a dark turn in 2024 when she is accused of transphobia, ableism, and homophobia.
My name is Maddie. I used to be friends with Rachel, also known as Freckled Zelda, and I'm here today to talk to you guys about why she's a bad person. Today's topics include racism, transphobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, ableism, as well as just being a bad friend and a bad...
As expected, McClung capitalized on the negative PR and made a video about Zelda. He took things further by accusing Zelda of sending explicit photos to minors in a group chat. This was no small allegation, because it painted Zelda as a possible pedophile, and he had screenshots to support some of his claims.
He did distasteful conduct around a single 15-year-old. That is something I got wrong in my original video. It was only one. It was not multiple, more than one. It was only one 15-year-old, and it was a 15-year-old boy. I misgendered them. I assumed incorrectly. There were a couple other minor things I got wrong, and I'll go over that in a second.
But here's where it gets complicated. While there were a few cosplay pictures and videos from the group chat, there weren't any nude photos. In fact, most of the pictures McClung provided were doctored to look more suggestive than they were. As the video went on, it became clear that McClung was clickbaiting to generate traffic from Zelda's unfortunate situation. When Zelda attempted to defend herself,
pictures to a 15-year-old when I only shared cosplay pics to a group chat of 5 girls, including me. This group chat included 3 girls my same age that were my close friends at the time.
However, McClung fired back, standing his ground without acknowledging that he may have made a mistake.
video is that she didn't send nude photos to a 15-year-old. She proved nothing else. But guess what? First line of facts given to me by the glorious Ami is that they never, ever said that she sent nude photos. All they ever said, shown here.
From here on out, the backlash began. We all know that people are always happy to put a creator's head on the chopping block when words like file and groomer are thrown around. But it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. In this case, it wasn't because all the evidence McClung presented came from secondary sources, such as TikTok threads. I mean, the least he could have done was thoroughly research and gain clarity before making such allegations. Fans started poking holes in his story because the images lacked context. The minor in question was added to the group chat after the suggestive photos were uploaded, but McClung refused to acknowledge that part. In her video response, Zelda claimed that the photos were nothing but innocent cosplay she shared in a mixed-aged fan group, not a teenage fan group. Also, she provided the original versions of the images, confirming that the ones posted by McClung were indeed altered.
Without further ado, let's get into it.
A group chat was edited and blurred to make me look like I don't have clothes on to an anime convention, and I shared the photos of my new cosplay to this group chat. These are the original photos, a back picture of the bunny cosplay and a front picture of the cosplay with a cat sleeping on my lap.
At this point, it was crystal clear. McClung was blowing things out of proportion, and Zelda was being set up for drags. The thing is, not many people knew that McClung's research was loosely based on random TikTok videos, so he got a lot of support in this case. One person said, "In my experience, it's the people who scream, 'I'm a Christian' the loudest who are actually the most evil. The Christians in my life who never make their religion their whole personality and just do good, like working at one of our local soup kitchens twice a week, are so kind and never hurt others like this. Your actions as a member of a church will always speak louder than you just yelling about how everyone else is evil and you're the pure one. She's such a poor example of a real Christian." With the support of his fans, McClung didn't back down. He simply moved on from the topic without deleting the original video. Zelda wasn't the only one who challenged McClung. Other creators came to her defense. One noteworthy video was posted in April 2024. It broke down McClung's claims bit by bit, accusing him of coming after Zelda with misleading information.
It seems like this guy really is milking it for what it's worth, because let me tell you, this guy's arguments had so many holes it might as well have been Swiss cheese. Let's begin, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for this one.
From this point on, people began to slowly lose faith in McClung. It became clear that his content style was dangerous because it set people up for harassment without sufficient evidence. Zelda was no saint, but McClung should have been more thorough with his research and less biased. Regardless of her defense, McClung wasn't fazed. In fact, he seemed to enjoy the drama that came out of it. After all, bad publicity is still publicity, right? Or so it seemed at the time. Unfortunately for Zelda, proving McClung wrong to some degree didn't clear her name. While some people saw through his shenanigans, with one user saying, "Hey, came back here to say that you were actually correct the whole time. I was the true simp. I saw a cute guy talking about a woman I never heard of being a lot of things I don't like, and never actually watched the video and went off of it based on positive reception in the comments. After the Danky Jabo stuff, I decided to watch the video and I was furious with him. He waters down the definition of so much she like turf and pedo and gets everything so wrong, especially with the 15-year-old shit because he just glosses over the fact that they were added into the group chat afterwards. He's pathetic and should have been called out sooner." Some others felt the photos were still inappropriate enough to raise suspicion. In this user's words, "The lewd photos are still inappropriate because if a dude sent something along those lines, the media would be losing it. So it's absolutely not okay to send photos like that to minors. She could have easily just stood in front of the mirror and that's it. But she insisted on turning around and posing to show her ass and breasts. Not unintentional. Yes, there are NSFW cosplays, but they do not allow them at all-age cons." It took months for the scandal to die down.
Public, I believe these pictures are tame compared to more revealing pictures from other girls in the community. Maddie and Ami doctored photos of me to look like I don't have clothes on. That is defamation of character.
The first thing she says there is that this is defamation of character. What is defamation of character, you might be asking? Basically, in layman's terms, it means that you are trying to make something seem as though it is not to put somebody down in a way that they are not meant to be.
What McClung did was obviously defamation, and he got away with it, as he would over and over again until it finally caught up with him. The scandal with Zelda was barely over when McClung found his next target, Pumpkin the Gentleman. The teenage TikTok artist also had a large online following because people found his whimsical drawings fascinating. He had many viral drawings and offered tutorials to upcoming artists, primarily younger people. McClung suddenly set his sights on Pumpkin, creating an incrementing YouTube video titled, "This TikTok artist likes kids a little too much." McClung claimed Pumpkin's art was suggestive and accused him of engaging in inappropriate interactions with minors on the internet. Maybe he didn't know Pumpkin was also a minor at the time, or perhaps he knew. Either way, he set Pumpkin up as a predator.
He's done? Who is he? Oh, and before we get started, please don't go harass anybody in this video.
McClung capitalized on the fact that one of Pumpkin's images had a bulge in the groin. According to him, Pumpkin was deliberately creating this kind of art to groom minors in his fan base. He also added some screenshots of conversations between Pumpkin and his fans. McClung called for Pumpkin to be canceled and banned because he was allegedly a danger to minors since he didn't actually lock his account and made it only accessible to 18-year-olds.
Unless your account is set and said to be for people of the age of 16.
From a one-sided perspective, it looks like McClung was standing up for minors and Pumpkin was indeed a threat. However, it wasn't that simple. After a bit of dragging, it became clear that McClung once again was setting someone up for drags with false information. In fact, some of the images he claimed were from Pumpkin's account were from an 18-plus account that had nothing to do with Pumpkin. Was it an innocent mistake, negligence, or deliberate involvement in spreading misinformation? I don't know, but it was a big scandal. Other pieces of evidence McClung provided had similar errors. The chat logs McClung presented as proof of inappropriate behavior lacked context, and we all know that context is everything. In one exchange, the person chatting with Pumpkin had lied about their age.
They still tried to say that Pumpkin was a fucking groomer because of those DMs, but like it doesn't even make sense with the context that he already established a boundary of no, not safe for work or legitimate romantic feelings. If he doesn't want that, and he doesn't want the nasty, and he doesn't want to date the motherfucker, then in what way would him making a sex joke with somebody who was lying about their age be grooming? What is there to gain?
Keep in mind that this information was widely available, but McClung either did not make efforts to find it or chose not to include it in his video. McClung admitted that he had spent only about 4 hours researching the allegations against Pumpkin before posting. The heat was so much that Pumpkin was forced to respond in a video of his own.
Yeah, I'm 5'11".
So when someone said, "Oh, well, she'd been a good person the whole time," again, if you were to grow up with not so good people who didn't teach you on how to be a good person and wasn't a good person themselves, it's a little bit hard to go down.
Pumpkin posted timestamps for all the interactions McClung had questioned. He shared the complete chat logs, which showed the full context of the conversations McClung had selectively quoted. It became clear that some of the photos at the head of McClung's smear campaign were incorrectly linked to his account and had nothing to do with him. Pumpkin also said that other inappropriate photos he posted had the 18+ and NSFW tags on them, making it evident that they were not for minors.
Piece shit
If you
together
had
mentally.
just clicked on the motherfucking picture, you would have seen the username have 18+ emojis and have the bar
Penny.
hide the NSFW tag that I put on the post in my NSFW account. Oh my God.
You know, this is funny. I'm glad that Pumpkin shows the full proof for this, because
Again, it became clear that McClung posted the allegations without proper investigation. His video was full of so many factual errors, and even the naughty conversations he claimed Pumpkin had with minors were just regular online conversations. There was nothing inherently incriminating enough to tag Pumpkin as a groomer. Pumpkin's reputation took a serious hit, because McClung wasn't the only one who covered the topic. Other creators posted similar content, calling Pumpkin out for what they considered inappropriate behavior with minors. They were all speculative, but rumors spread like wildfire, and when it starts, it's hard to quench it. Even though Pumpkin took some responsibility and admitted that he could have been more careful with his art, it was too late.
And although I did try to set a boundary, although it was a weak attempt where I'm like, I mean, yeah, you can open up to me or whatever, just, you know, no actual love feelings or NSFW pics. Like, no, I don't want
And that's
that.
the thing, that's the thing.
McClung, on the other hand, faced significant consequences for his contribution to ruining Pumpkin's reputation. Creators called him out across platforms, and the backlash from Reddit was particularly intense. People accused him of attempting to destroy a fellow creator's life over a 4-hour research he conducted before creating his baseless video. Pumpkin's loyal fans weren't having it either. They rallied behind him, demanding a retraction and a formal apology from McClung. McClung eventually took the video down and apologized. I will make a video on this if need be. I said some things in interviews here and there that are yet to be released, but I realize those take time. Months ago, I made a video about a guy by the name of Pumpkin the Gentleman. I was the main reason this situation got so much attention, and why Pump G, as he goes by, got so much hate. I want to issue an apology here while we wait for those interviews to come out. About how I blew out of proportion a lot of material I had. I ran with evidence that had no backing, text messages with no proof, and what I found to be the most stupid, asking him to prove a negative after he cleared up and took accountability for everything he needed to. Yeah, sure, he did a couple of things wrong, but he apologized and immediately took it back, so I really had no right to come for him after that. As if 2024 wasn't problematic enough, 2025 came with its own set of troubles, and McClung made the biggest mistake of his career, going after Danky Jabo. McClung released his usually poorly researched YouTube video about Danky Jabo, a fellow YouTuber with a fiercely loyal audience. He accused him of a range of vile things without a single shred of evidence. McClung said Danky Jabo was an abuse apologist and misogynist. He also called him out for being involved with I'm Alex, yet another controversial YouTuber.
Online. See, I am not a Jesse fan. I don't watch his content. I'm not a big fan of it. I actually, personally, and we'll get to this later, do not like the way he talks about women, specifically. But there is a time for everything, and now is the time for exposition. The accusations against Danky Jabo, aka Jesse, go as follows. Lying to your audience, using hateful, derogatory speech towards women, silencing those who are against you, and lying to and manipulating your audience.
The thing is, McClung wasn't the originator of these claims. In fact, the first person to make a video accusing Danky Jabo was Cataclysm. She made these claims in a now deleted video after a private conversation with Danky Jabo.
But it's just giving misogyny. Women already have so much pressure on them to have their bodies, you know, live up to the societies of corn, and the beauty standard is insane. When people insult women by saying their genitals look like roast beef.
The video was full of wild assumptions and false accusations. As usual, McClung swooped in to ride the trend and capitalize on the negative publicity. He didn't double-check whether Cataclysm's claims were legitimate before he made his video. McClung compared Danky Jabo's content to I'm Alex's, claiming that both YouTubers were buddies and shared the same beliefs. For context, I'm Alex was canceled for physically, verbally, and emotionally abusing 2 of his ex-girlfriends. McClung claimed that Danky Jabo's preference for communicating through phone calls was intimidating behavior. According to him, Danky Jabo didn't want to communicate through text messages because he knew what he was saying was wrong and could be used against him. When the backlash came, Cataclysm posted an apology. In her words, "Hey people, thank you guys for messaging me regarding the Danky Jabo response video to Lewis. I've seen the entire video and I've taken into consideration some of the comments and outside perspectives. I just want to start off by saying that it is good to see Danky Jabo has cleared up that he is not in touch with Alex anymore. I think that goes without saying, and I want to apologize to Danky for ever making him feel as if he was forced into a video. I can't talk my way out of that, as now looking at the situation in hindsight, I see exactly how you would have felt that there was no other option, and meaning you had to talk about things you weren't comfortable with talking about is also something I feel deeply guilty for. Truthfully, no one else ever needed to get involved in this, and I do acknowledge that the stream format I originally did was probably not the smartest idea for making talking points about someone who I was upset with. She said it was her first mistake and begged her fans not to lose trust in her. That was my first mistake. It was something that I should not have made public, especially as I really did not mean for it to be a witch hunt. I thought I was doing the right thing in regards to what I deemed to be morally right, but something I'm learning is sometimes it's best to just keep some things offline. I'm happy to see that it has been cleared up, and this is my final say on the matter. I have deleted the stream out of respect for Danky Jabo now that he has cleared things up, not friends with Alex. I hope this is something that doesn't mean you guys feel you cannot trust me. I try at all times to just say what I'm feeling, and sometimes what I'm feeling may not be the best idea to just throw online, especially without more context and solid information, as due to this all blowing up, it has essentially become he said, she said, which is definitely not something that should be brought online ever, and is completely my fault. I take responsibility for my mistakes. I apologize to anybody confused, annoyed at me, and take criticism on board as always. It seemed like McClung had done proper research for once and was finally accusing someone who deserved to be canceled.
I'm just gonna say Jesse, okay? I don't like it, all right? I'm American. If there's anything American people hate, it's experiencing other cultures. No, I'm kidding. Danky Jabo just so happened to be an editor for I'm Alex, or at least one of his editors at some point in time. You can even tell the blatant mentoring through the exact same thumbnail design. They use the exact same thumbnail design. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more proof that he mentored him or taught him his ways.
The thing is, McClung shot himself in the foot this time. For starters, Lewis had condemned Danky Jabo for using jokes disrespectful to women when in that same video, he said this.
But that might just be me. Oh, you gave me my career, but you're going to exploit me for something because of it? Yes, because you owe me. Every woman in Hollywood ever.
The hypocrisy was loud, but McClung didn't know that his own content would be examined in response to his accusations. Danky Jabo thoroughly researched and was fully prepared for his response video.
So originally I wasn't going to address this situation because it's all based on petty, baseless gossip and huge lies that frankly weren't worth responding to. But recently it's become so much bigger than I ever thought it would, so I figured I'd set the record straight. For the last few months I've been the target of a harassment campaign from Lewis McClung and Cataclysm.
Danky Jabo wasn't about to let McClung ruin his reputation, as he had destroyed the reputation of many other people in the past. One by one he dismantled every single claim McClung made, making it clear he would not be bullied into silence or forced to suffer the consequences of false accusations. Danky Jabo believed that McClung deliberately partnered with Cataclysm to add weight to her false allegations and ruin his image. It was a coordinated smear campaign, and Danky Jabo wasn't having it.
For the last few months, I've been the target of a harassment campaign from Lewis McClung and Cataclysm. They've been lying about me both privately and publicly and passing off huge false assumptions as fact when there is no evidence to support them. The two main claims that they make are that I'm a misogynist and that I'm supporting an abuser. In Lewis's video, he details all of the supposed allegations.
As usual, McClung had misinterpreted interactions to suit his narrative. The text messages McClung claimed Danky Jabo used to disrespect a woman were nothing more than a sarcastic response to a random person who messaged him demanding answers. Also, Danky Jabo proved that the thumbnails that allegedly linked him to I'm Alex were purely coincidental. I mean, it's YouTube. Creators who have never interacted with each other before may share similar thumbnails or even content ideas. It doesn't mean that they're friends. Danky Jabo did admit that he worked for I'm Alex in the past as an editor, but their relationship was strictly professional. After all, both YouTubers are in the same niche. The bottom line is that McClung was wrong and deliberately took things out of context to paint Danky Jabo in a negative light. Danky Jabo asked McClung to provide tangible proof of his accusations, if any. Of course, McClung couldn't provide the evidence.
Obviously, there is no evidence to support this because it's not true, so the two resort to grasping at straws, lying, and making things up to pass me off as an abuse apologist. One of the only pieces of evidence that they show are that our thumbnails are similar.
You can even tell the blatant mentoring through the exact same thumbnail design. They use the exact same thumbnail design. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more proof that he mentored him or taught him his ways.
Instead of accepting his mistake, apologizing, and going back to making videos as he always did, McClung decided to double down. He hosted a live stream to defend himself, during which he continued to share unverified claims about Danky Jabo. Viewers didn't fall for it, and he eventually deleted the video and posted an apology.
I'm really sorry. To Jesse, to my audience, to his, to whoever overlaps. I'm sorry for any harm I caused by spreading my ideas as fact. I apologize for being forceful when trying to get an apology or a statement out of Jesse.
At this point, viewers were sick and tired of McClung's antics. One or two false allegations could be ruled an innocent mistake, but with McClung, it was a pattern. While some of his videos genuinely called out bad behavior with receipts, there were way too many unverified claims aimed at destroying reputations. McClung would spend the next few months trying to revive his dying career, but he wouldn't make much progress. When people checked his channel and stumbled upon his videos, they became even more livid. Another disturbing video talked about Dream, infamous Minecraft content creator. McClung made a distasteful video about Dream at a time when fans were already sick of his content. He reopened a year-old allegation about Dream that had already been investigated and debunked by credible sources. Dream was accused of cheating on a speedrun by another Minecraft content creator. He was also accused of grooming, having inappropriate conversations with minors, using racial slurs, mishandling charity, and doxing. While McClung tried his best to make it look like a simple documentation of events rather than his usual biased smear campaign, it was clear that he considered Dream guilty. He started the video like a genuinely concerned observer.
Before the usual intro of my videos, I would like to have a talk with everybody who decided to click on this video, whether it was out of anger or out of intrigue or you're one of my subscribers. I would just like to say, I have just made a video on doxing, but this video has a more serious problem with doxing. The fans of Dream are people.
Rather than simply documenting the case, he sounded as if he believed Dream was guilty of the accusations, but he didn't get canceled because there wasn't enough evidence. He kept making sly statements like, Dream didn't groom anybody, or at least we don't have any evidence, which implied doubt where none existed. I mean, the video was obviously flawed and deliberately ambiguous because it kept filling the gaps with his opinions rather than evidence. He speculated about motivations, questioned timing, and suggested alternative interpretations of facts. It was crazy because the entire case had already been trashed.
You know, he tells everybody to dox people. He has said it before. Though the tweets have been deleted, the receipts still reside, and if you want to find them, be my guest. But yes, he has told his fans, dox this person.
Dream had already posted an extensive video debunking all the allegations against him as much as he could long before McClung addressed the situation, so he didn't respond. However, other creators weren't having it. People started posting videos calling out McClung for his biased narration of events. One video titled, Lewis McClung is dangerous and needs to be stopped, critiqued how McClung handled the allegations against Dream and noted his pattern. Viewers who didn't know the facts would have definitely seen McClung's video as credible, even though it wasn't. It was so obvious that McClung was manipulating the evidence and selectively omitting the facts to make viewers believe that Dream was a terrible person who should have been canceled, but wasn't. Dream had a lot of issues, no doubt, but was he beyond redemption? Well, his fandom and the rest of the internet believed he could be redeemed and deserved a second chance. But McClung had other ideas. He painted himself as some sort of hero who was the only one brave enough to call Dream out.
If you are too scared to criticize somebody, and then somebody else comes around to criticize them, and then you get mad at them when they're doing the job that is yours to do as their fans, you are the problem. Okay, I'll turn down the volume. I'm mad because doxing should be completely illegal. It should be suable. It should be literally allowed to have the highest form of repercussion below murder and the R word.
The situation with Dream, Danky Jabo, and others inspired creators to go down the rabbit hole of McClung's terrible videos. Another issue that came up was the scandal about George Not Found, another Minecraft streamer. George Not Found faced multiple allegations, and McClung was among those who covered the case. Other streamers accused McClung of fanning the flames and making an already volatile situation worse. At the end of the day, George Not Found lost all his followers due to irreparable damage to his reputation. Even in situations where the person was obviously guilty, like the I'm Alex situation, McClung still didn't create his videos with delicate care. Apart from misrepresenting facts and in some cases avoiding them altogether, his videos were always more rage bait than investigative pieces. Even his apologies were a little off-center, lacking sincerity.
I apologize to Danky Jabo, Jesse, for making him feel like he needs to out himself. That was never my intention, but it still happened, and I am still extremely sorry for doing so. Do not feel good about it in the slightest. As two ace people, I hope one day, in the very far future, that we can be part of the community together.
That pattern doesn't look sincere to me, but I'll let you decide. The pattern across McClung's controversies was the same from the Freckled Zelda case through the Dream video and others. He relied on secondary sources without verification. He accepted allegations at face value without investigating counter-evidence, even in cases where the facts clearly exonerated the accused. He framed ambiguous situations as clear-cut wrongdoing to paint a specific picture about people he didn't like. When confronted with evidence that contradicted his narratives, he apologized but never did anything to prevent future errors. This time, the YouTube community took a stand and made it clear that it's not okay to simply say you're sorry when you've ruined someone's life. McClung made multiple videos after these scandals, trying hard to regain his fans' trust, but he lost their trust. There was a significant drop in viewership, and almost every comment on his videos was negative. He went from having 500,000 to 1 million views per video to struggling to hit 20,000 views per video. His last video was in August 2025, and the comment section was full of angry YouTubers. People were simply done with his antics and there was no going back. McClung finally got the message and disappeared from the online space permanently. Maybe he'll finally learn his lesson and come back for his redemption arc someday.